She was just trying to ask for help. A simple note, passed secretly to the man sitting at table 7. But he wasn't who she thought he was. What he did next changed her life and almost destroyed his own. This isn't just a story about a mistake. It's about trust, identity, and a secret that was never supposed to get out. It was the Thursday dinner rush at Rose's Diner, a classic chrome-plated joint tucked between a pawn shop and a faded liquor store. The kind of place that smelled like burnt coffee, grease, and broken dreams. Ella, 25, worked the night shift 6 days a week. Thin frame, hair always pulled into a messy ponytail, eyes that never quite smiled anymore. She moved quickly between booths, not because she was in a hurry, but because slowing down meant thinking. And thinking was dangerous. That night, table 7 was supposed to be safe. She had been planning it for days. Waiting for the right man. The one who came in every Thursday around 7:30 p.m. Clean cut, mid-40s, always wore a grey suit and sat alone. She'd overheard him once on the phone. Some kind of detective. Maybe private. Maybe police. Either way, he felt like her only shot. But that night, someone else was sitting at table 7. He didn't fit the usual profile. Messy beard, beat-up leather jacket, a scar that ran across his eyebrow. Tired eyes. Looked like trouble. Still, he was in the seat. Ella didn't have time. She needed out. Tonight. So she made the decision. She walked over, poured his coffee, smiled like she always did, and slid the folded napkin under his plate without looking. He didn't notice at first. Or maybe he did. Across the diner, a man with a heavy jacket and Bluetooth earpiece sat by the window, pretending to read the menu. His eyes flicked toward table 7, then back to Ella, then toward the kitchen. The clock above the grill ticked slowly. 7:42 p.m. The note said, "Please help me. He's watching. I can't leave. My life is in danger. Say nothing. Just nod if you understand." The man with the scar finally unfolded it, halfway through his second cup of coffee. He froze. His eyes scanned the diner slowly, too slowly. Not the way a cop would. No, this guy read people like a street dog looking for the source of a threat. He looked up at Ella. She was serving fries at table 4, pretending not to check on him. He didn't nod. He didn't smile. He stood up, left a $20 bill on the table, walked out. Ella's heart dropped. Had she just made everything worse? Out in the alley behind the diner, the man lit a cigarette, pulled out a worn flip phone, dialed a number that hadn't been used in years. "She's still alive. You're sure?" a voice rasped. "She just contacted me." "Then it's happening." "Yeah," he said. "Time to end this." Back inside, Ella was shaking. The man with the Bluetooth earpiece walked to the register, asked for a to-go cup. She knew that voice. He wasn't a customer. He was watching her. Always had been. Outside Rose's Diner, 9:03 p.m. He sat in a rusted-out Ford truck 2 blocks down, engine off, eyes fixed on the rear entrance of the diner. The man Ella had slipped the note to. His name was Nathan Cole, ex-military, dishonorably discharged, and quietly working as an independent fixer for people who couldn't go to the police. People like Ella. She didn't know who he was. And he hadn't planned on being there that night. But the second he read her note, something in his chest twisted. Words like "he's watching" and "I can't leave" weren't just a cry for help, they were too familiar. He had seen women like her before. In war zones, in safe houses. Some he'd saved, others, he didn't make it in time. Nathan wasn't going to let that happen again. Inside the diner, Ella wiped down table 2 with trembling hands. Her stomach hadn't stopped turning since the man walked out. She kept glancing at the window, hoping, then hating herself for hoping. The man with the Bluetooth was still there, sipping coffee he hadn't touched in 20 minutes. His name was Reed, though Ella only knew him as Tom. He said he was from corporate, doing safety checks. But she'd caught him following her once. And 2 weeks ago, she found him sitting in her car when she got off work. Just sitting. Silent. Like he was waiting to prove he could. Every time she tried to quit, something happened. Rent stolen. Her friend fired. Her brother in Chicago threatened. Coincidences, management said. Now, she was trapped. And that note? If Reed found out, if he even suspected, she was as good as dead. Back in the truck, Nathan opened a manila folder. Ella Monroe. Born in Indiana. Foster homes. High school dropout. No record. No social. No digital footprint after 2021. That was the first red flag. Nathan had found the note odd, but what came next was worse. Her identity didn't make sense. The name was real, but the life around it had been scrubbed clean. Someone had erased her. And that only happened when someone powerful wanted a person to disappear. He pulled out a second photo, a grainy image from a surveillance camera 6 years ago. A warehouse in Detroit. Fire. 2 bodies found. 1 woman missing, Isabel Hartley, 24, former witness in a federal trafficking investigation. Nathan looked at Ella's photo again. It was her. In the diner kitchen. Ella reached for a knife behind the prep table. Not to use. Just to feel something solid. Safe. She didn't notice the tiny pinhole camera blinking from the corner shelf. Reed did. He stepped outside to take a call. She made contact. With who? We're not sure. We think she mistook him for Green. Get her under control. What about the note? Doesn't matter. She's not making it to tomorrow. Click. Reed slipped his phone away and walked to his car. He didn't see the figure in the alley behind the trash bins. Nathan watched him. Memorized every step, every move. Something wasn't right. Reed moved like someone who knew how to kill. This wasn't just harassment. This was containment. 10:47 p.m. Ella's apartment. She locked the door behind her, double-bolted it, and shoved a chair under the handle. Then sat on the floor and cried. For the first time in 3 years. She hadn't cried when her roommate vanished. Or when she was forced to change names. Or when they made her sign the NDA at that recruitment office. But tonight felt different. Like something was cracking open. The look in the stranger's eyes, the one she'd given the note to, haunted her. He didn't look confused. He looked like he already knew. 11:02 p.m. A knock on the door. 3 short taps. Then silence. Ella froze. No one knew where she lived except the diner. Then, another knock. But this time, it came from the back window. 11:02 p.m. Atlanta, Ella's apartment. She crept to the back window, heart hammering like a drum inside her ribs. The knock hadn't come again. Just once. 3 quiet taps. She reached for the curtain. Ella, a voice whispered from outside. Deep, low, controlled. I'm not here to hurt you. It was him. The man from the diner. Scar across his brow. Eyes like he'd seen too much. How do you know my name? She asked. I know a lot more than that. Silence. Let me in, he said. You have about 10 minutes before they come. Inside her apartment, seconds later. Nathan stepped through the window, slow and careful like someone trained to avoid leaving prints. He didn't sit. Just stood by the door, listening. They found out, Ella said. Didn't they? Not yet, he said. But they will. You gave the note to the wrong man. I know. Lucky for you. I'm the right one now. Reed was already in his car, heading east. He wasn't bluffing earlier. The order was clear, terminate. No loose ends. The problem was Ella wasn't a waitress. Not really. And she wasn't alone anymore. Back in the apartment. Nathan pulled out a battered folder from his coat. Photos, documents, maps. All names connected to one case, Project Devlin, a covert trafficking pipeline involving corrupt law enforcement, private contractors, and political donors. Shut down. Supposedly. Ella stared at one photo. A man in a lab coat. Her hands trembled. That's him, she whispered. That's the one who injected us. How many of you were there? Nathan asked. 17, she said. Then 12. Then, I don't know. I was the last. Nathan clenched his jaw. It wasn't just trafficking. It was experimentation. And Ella wasn't just a survivor. She was the witness they thought was dead. Suddenly, glass shattered. The front door splintered open. Reed and 2 armed men stormed in. Silencers on. Tactical gear. No hesitation. Ella dropped to the floor. Nathan flipped the coffee table, yanked a Glock from his waistband, and opened fire. 2 shots. 2 men down. Reed fired wildly, clipped Nathan's shoulder. Ella grabbed the burner Nathan had left on the couch and dove for cover. Sirens howled in the distance. Someone had heard the shots. Reed fled through the hallway window, limping. The next morning, 6:12 a.m., the apartment was swarming with unmarked cars. Ella sat in the back of an ambulance, wrapped in a blanket. Silent. Nathan stood beside her, arm bandaged, talking to a woman in a black coat. DOJ badge. They were using her to keep Project Devlin buried, Nathan said. Someone high up is still cleaning house. The agent nodded. We'll protect her. Witness protection, new identity. Again. Ella looked up. No. No more running. The agent hesitated. You're not safe. I wasn't safe the first time. That didn't stop me either. Nathan smiled, just barely. She stays, he said, but she needs someone watching her back. Are you volunteering? Nathan didn't answer. He didn't need to. 3 months later, Rose's Diner, rebuilt and reopened. A new waitress served coffee. The neon sign flickered above the door. Inside, Ella sat in a booth, reading a book, smiling. Across from her, Nathan drank his coffee in silence, watching the door. A man walked in. Briefcase. Government badge half tucked under his coat. He spotted Ella. Tensed. Then turned and walked back out. Nathan nodded. He'd seen it too. This wasn't over. But this time, they were ready. Fade out.